From South Carolina Public Radio, this is the South Carolina Lede. I'm your host, Gavin Jackson, and this episode was recorded on March 27th, 2026 from South Carolina Public Radio Studios here in Columbia. Pledge drive is over by the time you heard this. Hopefully you donated 800-256-8535 or southcarolinapublicradio.org if you want to get it in the day after pledge drive ended, please. We'll take it. We love it. On this episode of The Lede, we look at two other candidates who have jumped in the governor's race, including a Democrat. We also have the first SCGOP governor's debate that's next week. But not everyone will be on stage. We look at some of the major legislative moves this week, including the so-called bathroom bill that is now on its way to the governor's desk a decade after it was first floated in the State House. Also, check out the State House Gavel at scetv.org/thegavel, where Tuesday through Friday, Maayan Schechter and myself bring you recaps, previews, big and small State House moments, meeting schedule highlights, photos, video, and more. More. And we want to incorporate you into our episode too, 803-563-7169. That is our number that you can, if you don't want to donate to public radio, which I don't know why you wouldn't, maybe you could donate to the Hopper, give us something to talk about in the wind down section. It's very lonely. Bink! Oh gosh. Ooh, gas prices going up and the Hopper going down. 803-563-7169. We'll see you in the wind down section, folks. All right, let's start off in the State House with some incredibly insider State House news for y'all that you probably don't care about, but I'm going to mention anyway because the House amenders, that's House lawmakers and staffers, reclaimed the softball throne.
This ball is crushed
By defeating the Senate filibusters 11-7 at Founders Park Tuesday to take home the 2026 Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Carolina Mary Elizabeth Mulliken Annual Legislative Softball Game Trophy. So I know baseball season just started. AT has a jersey on right now, another man's name on it. So I'm just throwing that in there so you guys know about it. It was a close 7 innings. I was there with some other members of the press corps watching and definitely heckling. That's my favorite thing to do when I go. And the House took home that trophy after losing last year to the Senate for the first time in years. Now, on a little bit of a somber note, the annual event was recently named after the late Mary Elizabeth Mulliken, a lobbyist and daughter of Thomas Mulliken, director of the state's Department of Natural Resources, was also a friend of Mary Elizabeth, and we miss her very much a year later after her death. State leaders Governor Henry McMaster and Senate President Thomas Alexander and House Speaker Merle Smith were also there joining the Mulliken family for a pregame ceremony. And Director Mulliken threw out the opening pitch, and State Representative Roger Kirby, who's a Florence Democrat, sang a very operatic national anthem. Really moving. Now, I will say again, the amount of trash talking and yelling behind home plate that I say, I mean, you know, you have a couple beers, you got a couple hot dogs, you got things to say.
Oh, how you doing?
Let's just say if we were to do official color commentary, we would probably wouldn't be here anymore. So we kids. But let's look at what moved this week. The House voted unanimously to concur with the Senate changes to H. 3858 that was sponsored by Charleston Republican Representative Gary Brewer dealing with boat taxes. Yes, it would nearly cut in half property taxes on boats that are registered in the state, phasing in the exemption over 3 years, and then would also eliminate the requirement for owners to title an outboard motor. An updated fiscal impact statement reports that the cut will reduce county property tax revenue by nearly $40 million by the time the tax cut is fully phased in. Let's head into the governor's desk for his signature. S. 922 was sponsored by Senate Majority Leader Shane Massey, and the bill mostly deals with the governor's appointments and the Senate's role as it relates to advice and consent. Now, the Senate added a measure that would remove Dr. Ed Simmer, who is Governor Henry McMaster's nominee to lead the State Department of Public Health. That would be done by May 14th, the final day of the legislative session. Simmer was previously the director of what was known as the Department of Health and Environmental Control, which has now turned into Department of Public Health, and he's been serving in an interim capacity since it split into two. Now, Democrats tried unsuccessfully Tuesday to move the date to December 31st because their amendment said it would be to the detriment of the state to remove the director. The bill now heads to the House. And again, a lot of folks, the Senate Medical Affairs Committee last year voted against Simmer's nomination. There's a lot of misinformation about him and his role during the COVID-19 vaccination rollout. He did exactly what the governor ordered him to do, but there's still a lot of conflation going on, a lot of blame put towards him, especially by far-right Republicans who do not like him. But again, when we're in the last year, the final less than a year left in the Governor McMaster's term. It's very questionable to try and figure out who would step up to fill in this role, because usually you don't want to be appointed to someone's lame duck administration if you're only going to be there for a couple months. So that is a question that no one seems to be able to answer. Moving on to the bathroom bill. In a bipartisan 35-2 vote, the Senate advanced legislation to restrict bathroom, locker, and changing room use at public K-12 schools and colleges and universities, as well as their facilities like stadiums, to require that people use those facilities that correspond to their biological sex assigned at birth. The bathroom bill, folks. This is that Republican push bill H 4756 that was sponsored by State Representative Tommy Pope of York and would codify law that's been attached to the state budget for years now, and would also further expand the law by including the colleges and universities. And it also adds a private cause of action for a violation. Democrats have largely criticized this legislation, arguing that it targets the transgender community and a small percentage of South Carolina's overall population. Republicans say it's merely an action to ensure privacy and safety. Senate Democrats on Wednesday tried to remove language related to colleges and universities, saying there was not enough information to know the expense colleges would have to install single-user restrooms in all campus buildings, an additional requirement made by the House. That proposed tweak failed, and an amendment proposed by Republican Senator Richard Cash of Anderson, as well as Wes Clymer of York, appeared to appease their on-the-fence colleagues by further expanding the definition of accommodations that removed that impression that every building had to have a single-user restroom. Now, Senator Lee Bright of Spartanburg, who's a Republican who originally pushed for this bill 10 years ago and lost re-election but was re-elected back in 2024, celebrated its passage on Facebook, saying, quote, "Unfortunately, Nikki Haley killed this bill 10 years ago. I'm so glad we were able to pass the bathroom bill in the Senate today," quote. Now remember that at the time in 2016, North Carolina had passed similar legislation that turned into a complete disaster. So that was a little bit of the reasoning behind that, because that law was partially repealed in North Carolina, but it resulted in the NCAA moving championship games out of the state and billions of dollars in lost revenue for other economic development opportunities. 10 years later, the governor is expected to sign this version. As expected, the House voted 88-22 to override Governor McMaster's veto of H 4902, which is that name, image, and likeness bill that would shield revenue-sharing contracts between colleges and universities and student athletes. The Senate is set to take that up next week. TBD if they overturn that veto that requires a 2/3 of voting and present members to do so. Let's get out of the State House and get on the campaign trail, please. We continue our look at gubernatorial candidates who have filed. Filing's closing on Monday, folks, and we're looking at the Democrats, and let's just say...
It's bow time.
Did he? Uh-huh. Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Yes.
Anyway, it's not about him. It's about William Billy Webster, who launched his gubernatorial campaign at a Bojangles restaurant in Columbia on Wednesday.
I was there.
The Greenville native and businessman with past stints working in federal politics became the third Democrat. Can we say final? I think final Democrat to jump in the race. Now, Webster is 68, and he grew and led a payday loan business into what is now known as Advance America, which he sold back in 2010. Now, a Democrat hasn't won the governor's mansion since Jim Hodges in 1998, and a Democrat hasn't won statewide since Jim Rex for superintendent of education in 2006.
What's that, brother?
Just context, guys. Context we always put here. But Webster pledged to run an honest and respectful campaign, saying politics should not be a blood sport, as it's so well known in the state. He would also donate his salary to charity, and he's also called for a budget-wide 15% cut. I asked him about that, as well as corruption that continues to be discussed. Here he is.
Because everybody talks about corruption, right, and they don't tell you what it is. For me, it's a bit of a throwaway line. There are things in this state that must be corrected. There is a good old boy system. There are state contracts that are awarded based on who you are, other than what the best price is. There are agencies and other institutions whose budgets are bloated, and they're bloated for reasons of relationship and factors that shouldn't be. I will get at that. I'm not beholden to any of these folks. I don't need their money, and I don't need the good old boy politics. I'm going to address those issues factually, quantitatively, and make the right decisions for the taxpayers of South Carolina. We can find a lot of money to fund a lot of the priorities I'm talking about.
Is there, you were talking about a 15% cut. Is that what you're saying across the board? I mean, how do you address that? What are your plans to address it?
Yeah, so some of you, don't know if anybody remembers, but in the Clinton administration, there was something called reinventing government. And the premise of that was that the departments and agencies had not had a real scrub in a long time, so we picked not an arbitrary number, but an achievable number of about a 10% reduction. I don't know when the last time in this state that's been. Yeah, everybody's phone is going off. It's the Amber Alert, supposed to last 1 minute. You know, I think it's a good question. I think there's 15%. I think that's where we start. What I'm not going to do is, by executive order, fire the hardworking people of this state of South Carolina. I'm going to cooperate with the state agency heads. If this is not a collegial process where we both have input, the governor's office and the legislature, it won't work. You've seen how angry people are about DOGE. There's more conversation about, you know, the mayhem that's created, as opposed to good, responsible business stewardship of the taxpayers' money.
What's more Southern than announcing with a deep fryer timer going off? And then, of course, that Amber Alert test went off as well. But yeah, there were biscuits and fried chicken. I mean, not complaining. Now, Webster chose a local Bojangles. Oh, this is interesting. You might want to note this. For this announcement, as a nod to his childhood job making biscuits at that Southern fast food restaurant that his family owned a location of, and where he learned work ethic as well as stints pumping gas during summers, running a laundromat in college, and he even went back to Bojangles after graduating from law school. This hard work came in handy, especially as former Governor Dick Riley's chief of staff when he was Secretary of the U.S. Department of Education, as well as when Webster was running complex logistics and scheduling under President Bill Clinton. He gave more background on this.
I'm not a career politician. I have been working while they talked. I've spent my whole life in business. I've started 4 successful companies in 4 different industries. I've created thousands of jobs along the way, and I've invested in the communities that I've served through service and any other way that I thought I could help in those communities. Growing up, I pumped gas in the summers at the Value gas station in Greenville. It was in the Kmart parking lot, but that became my classroom. A lot of the lessons I learned about business, I learned there. I made every mistake there was to make, but I learned and I grew. In college, I ran a laundry, and while everybody else was out at night doing what people in college do, I was staying up till the wee hours of the morning folding sheets, towels, and pillowcases. The day after I graduated from law school, I came back here to Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits, the restaurant on Forest Drive. It's a lot like this one right here. All the important lessons I learned about business, I learned right back there in that kitchen. I learned from people like Galina, who's the supervisor of this store, and she'll be out here in a minute. The lessons about the dignity of hard work, about listening and not talking, and respecting our customers no matter who they were or where they came from. I think about Bernice, the biscuit maker, whose standards of excellence lifted the performance of all of us. And Earl from Frogmore, South Carolina, in the Forest Drive Bojangles. He taught me about persistence, patience, perseverance. Important skills when you're standing over a vat of hot peanut oil for 10 hours a day. I've also worked at the highest levels of American government. I worked for a Republican and a Democratic president. I was the guy you called when you needed to get something done. When our former and much beloved Secretary of Education, Governor originally, then Secretary of Education, went to the Department of Education, he asked me to be his chief of staff. I did the boring daily stuff that helped the department run and run well. So Dick, like a father figure to me, Dick Riley, could run the department, could focus on policy. I ran, he did policy. While at the White House, I was in charge of operations and logistics, in charge of the president's schedule every day and moving him around. I coordinated Air Force One, Marine One, White House Communications, White House Food Service, and the United States Secret Service.
Webster joins Hopkins Representative Jermaine Johnson and Charleston lawyer Mullins McLeod, rounding out the field of Democrats seeking that nomination come June 9th in the primary. Moving on to the Republicans. Unless there's another late surprise, the final Republican candidate for governor has officially filed candidacy paperwork on Thursday. That's just days ahead of that Monday deadline. And that was Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette, who is now the sixth and likely the last Republican to file. The Travelers Rest resident has been by Governor McMaster's side since he ran for his first full term in 2018. And of course, he's also endorsed her. He did that in early February. Here's Evette.
This is wonderful. And it's great that I have my family here, my husband, my kids got to come down. It took a little maneuvering because, two of them are adults now and they have real jobs. It wasn't like 9 years ago when the governor and I were running together and they were little. But this is a really great day. I'm really excited. It's been amazing to be on the trail since July, hitting all 46 counties and then doing it again. So it's just great. It's great to be out with the people, and the people of South Carolina continue to energize me every day.
I asked Evette whether she would be participating in the first Republican debate hosted by the state Republican Party, which will be held April 1st in Newberry. So far, only 5th District Congressman Ralph Norman and Attorney General Alan Wilson are set to appear. There's been a lot of contention over these debates, folks. Initial dates were changed. Also, if campaigns want to secure tickets for supporters to be in the audience, it could cost upwards of $20,000 per debate. Now, these are run by the party in partnership with Gray Media, which is broadcasting the debate. And I asked Evette if she was going to be on stage next week, and this was also a big focus of the press conference. We all kind of continued talking about this. Take a listen.
Not on April 1st. At this time, I don't see us doing that, but, we are going to be participating in debates. There's 75 days from now into the primary. I'm really happy. I've been at every governor forum that we've been invited to. I've been taking my message to every part of South Carolina, and I'll continue to do so from now until primary day.
Why not the April 1st debate?
For me, Joe, you and I talked about this a few days ago. I was just never. I was a little unsettled about the cost of the ticket prices. I've always been worried about our grassroots people. Those are the people I show up at meetings and talk to and have for 8 years. And it just seems to me that there should have been a better mechanism to make sure that they could be in the audience. Those are the people that put out signs for us and that make phone calls for us. And, they spend their own money on gas, getting to all kinds of functions. And so, I felt very strongly about the fact it seemed like they were going to be boxed out unless, we as a campaign would have to pay $20,000 to get them there. And my supporters want to see that money go to win this race. No, I really haven't made a decision on all of them. We'll see. I know SCETV has put a date on the calendar. I think we have said yes, that we're going to participate in that debate. So, again, it's not the debate itself. I'm happy to debate anybody that wants to debate. And like I said, I've been at every governor's forum that's been out there. So for me, again, it's just about, how are grassroots people going to get to participate in something that they work so hard for candidates all year long. And it shouldn't come from us. It takes a lot to raise money. We go out and we ask our supporters to do so much for us. I just, again, philosophically believe that was wrong.
Evette, they're committing to our debate, which we haven't nailed down a date yet or a time, but it is in the works as your only statewide news and information resource. It's also free. There will not be an audience, but there will be a moderator. And we'll see. We're going to let you know when we know about the ETV debate. And of course, we're getting good reception from all the other candidates as well, just trying to knock down a date. And that being said, the first debate is next Wednesday, and we will be covering it. But Justin Doherty of Fox Carolina News will moderate, along with panelist Edward Earwood, Executive Director of the South Carolina Association of Christian Schools, Judy Gatson of WIS 10 News, and Raphael James of Live 5 WCSC. So yes, as of right now, there are more panelists than there would be folks on the debate stage.
Interesting.
But SCGOP Chairman Drew McKissick said in a press release Tuesday that, quote, "This debate will provide Republican primary voters with a valuable opportunity to hear directly from the candidates on the issues that matter most to South Carolina families," quote. Low country businessman Ram Reddy, who is self-funding his campaign and not taking donations, would not qualify under the rule that candidates raise $100,000 from 250 donors. Reddy said in a press release last Wednesday that, quote, "I'm not going to be participating in some made-for-TV game with the ruling class. The clowns can have their circus," quote. Spartanburg Senator Josh Kimbrell, who also filed to run this week, said he anticipates participating but has not met the fundraising requirement. As of noon on Friday, the SCGOP noted that only Norman and Wilson will be on the stage at this point. And 1st District Congresswoman Nancy Mace blasted the party, saying it has one debate date during a day when the U.S. House of Representatives is in session to vote. And it just so happens to be in Representative Mace's district. Mace says that she is the leading candidate for governor and that the conflict is no accident. She says, quote, the establishment is trying to rig the election, quote. Her words there. Now, the debate she is referring to is on April 21st at the College of Charleston, and there is also another debate scheduled for May 26th at Wofford College. So, TBD on who's going to be on those stages. But again, we're planning to do one here at ETV, so stay tuned. Welcome to the wind down section, our little break from the news. We're glad you're here along with AT Charlotte, lead podcast producer. Hello, Richard.
Hello, Gavin. Hello, opening day. Hello, baseball. Okay.
So today is opening day.
Yesterday was opening day.
Okay.
And the Fightin' Phils won, bro.
Hey.
Okay. Hey, yo, go Phils, all right?
That's why you're wearing the jersey, Brer.
Aaron Nola,
Bro.
Italian legend. He pitched for Italy in the World Baseball Classic just now and looked great. It looked like vintage Aaron Nola. Love to see it. What I don't love to see, Gavin, is no flipping calls in the hopper,
Yeah,
okay?
what's up with that,
It's going to be a
guys?
light shame, but that's about it.
Well, I got some news. I'm officially boot-free, folks.
Yeah, you can
Everyone's
see-
been following the boot saga.
You can see all those piggies now, folks, yeah.
in my tiny Tim leg, which we were comparing. I'm like, I was trying to lift up my suit pants leg to show AT my legs.
The bad
he
leg
insisted. The bad
went
leg
up?
came up, and the other one was getting stuck in my massive
Didn't
calf.
have a chance of getting over that calf.
But so we've gone from everyone in the state house and everyone I interact with on a daily basis, going from who'd you get in a fight with,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
telling me about their feet stories,
Yes.
Bigfoot stories, to now being like, the bout's off, and I'm like very happy. I'm very thankful for all the attention and support.
It's a
but
thing of the past.
I'm so
It's a boot of the
I
past.
hope nothing befalls me anytime soon because I can't go through. Oh, what is that? What happened there? What did I, like,
Just, you know what happened to me? I had the boot on one foot, and then
Oh, yeah.
from overcompensating, I
Yeah.
eventually got a boot on the other foot. So it's a lot of fun. It's something that never leaves you. As someone who
yeah.
tore an Achilles in 2022,
Whoa.
I still have a tiny Tim leg. Yeah. So unfortunately, yeah.
And I
it's
will
not
say
great.
everything's healing well. Yesterday, I'm supposed to be done with it on Monday, but I took it off on Thursday. I'm like, let's just see. I mean, I walk around the house sometimes without my boot on.
That's
And-
good. That's good. That's natural.
Well, you got to transition.
It's natural
a little bit. You
to
gotta ease it
experiment.
up. Yeah. And I'm happy. I'm very lucky here. So hopefully nothing else happens. But that's the only thing people kind of start talking to you about.
Correct,
And I
yeah.
understand that. I kind of relate to Meg a little bit too. You know, Meg had cancer. She beat cancer. She's totally cancer-free still. Not that many people like still come up to her. I'm sure people still do, but people still ask me about how she's doing. I'm like, she's fine. Let's
Yeah.
stop talking about it. You know what I mean? Like, there's more to this person besides this one
thing. Absolutely.
And that's why I never like when I would
We all
when I would
contain
hang out with her.
multitudes.
I'm not always like, how are you? Like if you're not doing well, you're gonna tell me. I'm not gonna be like, so what's new with the?
Well, the one thing that I want everyone to talk to me about is back, Gavin. And of course, I'm not talking about baseball. I am talking about Top Chef. Okay,
Oh.
new season of Top Chef back.
Season.
It's in the Carolinas. It's
Whoa.
in Charlotte and Greenville, and no one wants to talk to me about Top Chef. The field's shaking out. We're 3 episodes in, I think, 2 episodes in.
Wow.
They're real stinkers. They're real duds. That's just fodder for them to cut early on. Okay.
Don't listen to them, folks.
Rhoda, Lawrence, they're looking good, okay? I like those players.
I'm nodding yes.
They're looking good, all right? If anyone wants to talk about Top Chef, please call in. But I do have good news, good parenting news here, Gavin.
Oh,
Last night, we put Dom in his bed awake without us,
okay.
settled himself. This is a huge step. Talking to all my parents out there, when you get your child to self-soothe for the first time,
Yeah.
this is huge.
3 months.
He's 2 months old. He is the size of an 8-month-old. It's awful. The people are astounded. The nurse tech at his 2-month checkup thought he was 7 or 8 months old the
What
other
is
day.
this? What is this child?
He's too large. He's eating too much. But he's self-soothed. Caitlin and I got like an hour downstairs alone without kids,
Oh my god.
which we used to watch the second half of Top Chef.
Oh, like children, like with the parents are going, oh, how exciting! That's exciting. That's
It
great
was
news.
Rena was in bed, Dom was in bed. We had 2 monitors going. It was great.
I did see your wife yesterday at Craft and Draft. She was pushing little baby Rena. She's adorable baby Rena.
Little sojourn with just Rena when she needs to get out of the house because she was beating Dom up. Yeah.
She said, she was screaming the entire way here. And she was like cute as a button when she got there. And she's so sweet. She's like, hi, bye. Like,
hi.
Oh my God. And then there was a big...
Die. That's what she says.
There was a big dog. And I was like, that has to be like the coolest thing for a child like that to be like, oh my God, a real life...
A dog bigger
stuffed
than me.
Animal. Because I'm like, oh yeah, that baby only has cats roaming around that she has to control. I'll give you a little adult news. What adult good news?
Adult good news.
Last year I bought that electric toothbrush.
Sure.
And I've been seeing the dividends. I'm obsessed with it.
The ROI.
I got my mom one. She's like, oh yeah, I'm actually brushing for 2 minutes because it stops after 2 minutes.
Does it play a song for you?
No,
remember that?
It's not a Samsung washing machine.
No, that's the Trout. That's Schumann, bro. That's a great song.
But now...
Getting a water pick.
No, I don't believe in the water pick.
Okay.
I also don't have the space for it. I do the flossers. That's sufficient. I'm continuing with this journey in that I bought new replacement heads for the toothbrush now. I'm not
one
just gonna,
for 1 year?
We're like 6 months in.
1 for 1 year, Gavin?
No, it came in like an 8-pack for $6. I'm like, well, now I'm going to do it.
Oh, no. So, but you're just changing it for the first time?
Yeah.
Come on, brother.
Come on.
You could go sooner.
I could have, but it was so comfortable. If I'm not buying, and so I go, here come all the add-ons, but I will say for $6, I'm like, okay, I'm sold on that now. But now that the bristle is getting just to where I liked it.
It's like an old comfy sweater.
But then
perfect.
But then you have your travel bag, and I'm gonna have to start incorporating my electric toothbrush into my travel bag because
you're
the
gonna get
toothbrush
stopped at the TSA lines and by the ICE workers, who don't know what they're looking at. Yeah,
it's an electric toothbrush. No, I just have the basic manual one, and it's always your oldest one. But I'm gonna probably put a new one that I got from the dentist in there. But still, you start using it, you're like, oh.
Slumming it.
You do the quick one, and you're like, oh, this is how I used to brush. Like,
You
boom,
feel
boom,
it.
30 seconds. Oh, that's enough.
You feel it.
And then it starts adding up, and it starts accumulating, if we can use that word. But
Plaque.
And then my friend Neil, who does have a water pick but doesn't floss enough, he's gonna have to get his scraped up.
Does that not count as flossing?
You would think so.
Dentists listening, please let us know. What is the conversion rate of water pick to floss stick?
I would rather just get in there and get the water.
I mean, that's what I do. Yeah, I floss
and then
every
of course
single day.
I do a rinse in the I do a rinse in the shower too.
Your mouth? You shower your mouth?
it's,
You shampoo in your mouth?
I just do it like a double. No, it's the TheraBreath Healthy Gums Oral Rinse.
Never heard of it.
It's in that blue bottle. It's in the blue bottle.
Oh, it's the little blue bottle. Good for you, brother.
So I do that, and I'm like, Blap, and then I'm just,
Then you condition afterwards.
Yeah,
anyway,
I pour it on my hair, then I let it drips down. And
slurp it up, spit it out. Good for you, brother.
Let us know about your shower routines. Talk to us about oral health. We're dying. We're scraping here, folks.
Okay, Gavin, say the outro. Go Phils. Go Birds.
All right, y'all. Give us a shout at 803-563-7169. I know you have things to say. I know people are mad about our hot pizza takes, too. Why are you suffering in silence? Let us know. 803-563-7169. We want to hear from you. You can also leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts from. They're everywhere these days, it seems like. And you can stay up to date with the latest news on SCETV.org and SouthCarolinaPublicRadio.org. And don't forget to support your local newspapers. The South Carolina Lede is a production of South Carolina Public Radio. Our producer is A.T. Shire. Amy Crouch is our supervising producer. Sean Birch is our executive producer. This podcast is produced with support from PRX and is made possible in part by a grant from the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, as well as listener contributions to the ETV Endowment of South Carolina. For the South Carolina Lede, I'm Gavin Jackson. Be well, South Carolina. Oh! We're just going to put this on the background of the entire pod. This could be it.
Pure energy.